Acting Class Weekly with legendary character actor Sean Whalen. Lessons, tips, and insight into the craft and business of acting from a man who's been directed by the likes of Spielberg, Eastwood, Tim Burton, Ang Lee, Michael Bay, Wes Craven, Tom Hanks, and many more of Hollywood's A-list. He is 30 years an actor and your professor, Sean Whalen.
Hello, everybody. I have to start by asking Mr. Funtabulous, Jeff Graham in the booth, and Roxy Stryer, my co-host, a musical question.
Ooh.
What's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding?
I want to be on your team, Sean, but I've never been more confused.
You don't know that song?
What's so funny?
What's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding? Like, why can't we all get along? And why am I saying that's an Elvis Costello song? I was listening to it on the way here. Because I'm in a little bit of hot water, and I need some peace, love.
What is happening right now,
No,
Sean?
I said I need a little peace, love, and understanding because
you stepped in dog poo poo.
Yes.
So as a millennial, let me just say, you're in too deep. That's our version, Sum 41.
Okay, In Too Deep. I like that song too. Have you not heard of What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding?
I guess
Elvis Costello, written by Nick Lowe. Anybody?
Sorry.
Anybody?
I
It's
don't
okay.
know it, but I do know the Sum
great
41 reference that rocks.
No,
Yeah,
but that's fine.
sorry.
So I'm in too deep. So my point is, to promote this show, I asked a question on social media to get some questions for today's part 2 of acting in social media. Last week we did a great episode. Roxy is kind of taking the lead on this one, guiding us how social media can be grown, how to do it a little bit, some nuts and bolts.
Some might call me a trailblazer, Sean.
Trailblazer, absolutely. And she's so dense with information, not a put down. So dense with information.
It still doesn't sound good.
But she has.
Can I just be knowledgeable?
Yeah, she's so
dense with information. Like, that's what you said about your least favorite teacher.
Really?
I don't know.
I don't know. I never thought of it that way. But see, a dense in the old school term.
So dense.
You know what I mean?
No.
That she's so knowledgeable that we just couldn't make it. So this is our part 2. So Jeff and I spoke the other day and said, hey, let's get some questions. Great. So I posted it on my Instagram and on my Facebook page, but I changed everything to Sean Whalen Actor. Everything is now the same, Sean Whalen Actor. On Twitter.
Your Instagram, your Facebook, and your Twitter handle are all Sean Whalen Actor.
Thanks to you.
Yes!
Thanks
Sean!
to you. Yes.
Well, I can explain why that is so important
Okay.
in a little bit.
Thank you.
But it's very important.
Thank you. But anyway, so
Jeff Graham.
I put the question out, and I got some responses, but Roxy said I kind of fumbled a little bit because I didn't do it correctly necessarily on Instagram.
Yeah, so let's just break this down.
Yeah, let's break it down.
I know we don't usually jump in this way.
Jeff wanted us to pull back the curtains and see, a life lesson, a case study of what was right and what was wrong about what I did.
So let's break down why you just botched this in too deep.
Yes.
What's wrong with funny understanding?
No. I'm saying what's so funny about it, meaning I need some.
What's funny
it's an
about
ironic
love
question.
and understanding?
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Peace, understand.
The word is, and each time I feel like this inside, meaning depressed, he goes, one thing I want to know when these people are mean, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in too deep.
Here's
Keep going.
Here's what's so funny. No, the basics of this, Sean, are you had a question for people.
Yes.
And it was not a question about an image.
Right.
It was not a question about a video. It was a question about the show that we're going to be doing. You wanted to know what questions they had about social media.
Yes.
So that is written text.
Okay.
Now, your instinct to go on Facebook is somewhat accurate because Facebook is all of those things combined. It's video, it's images, it's text. So I get why you'd go there. However, like we talked about in last week's show, it is an older demo.
Right.
And the older demo might not necessarily be as curious about what they can do on their TikTok, Instagram, social media, etc.
Okay.
So you're asking the wrong audience, but you're using a platform that's okay to do.
Got it.
On Instagram, there's a couple reasons, and Jeff Graham, if you can pull up Sean's Instagram. I'm going to show you guys why. And I think it will look the same on the computer as it does on the phone, but if not, I'll explain to you why exactly this wasn't great. Number one, it's a picture of Sean's face, which is fine. However, it looks like a selfie and has nothing to do with our show.
Right, I was trying to make a question face.
Right,
whatever.
So it doesn't have our slate of our show. It doesn't have a picture of me and you. It doesn't have a picture of an acting class or on stage. So people would have no reason to stop and read this caption.
Got it.
But if they did stop and read the caption without clicking that more button, you know how if you read a long caption, you only see part of it.
Right.
Very rarely will people click and see more unless they are extremely compelled by the caption.
Got it.
So all you actually see by this first picture on Sean Whalen's Instagram, also known as Sean Whalen Actor.
There
Good
it is.
compliment there.
Look at that. Thank you.
So if you are not looking on a desktop, what you would see is social media question. I am doing a social media episode of my podcast, Acting Class Weekly, with Sean Whalen. ...
That's it.
That's all you see.
Okay.
When you're scrolling by. So you did inform the people that you have a question.
Yes.
But you felt the need to say social media question.
Yes.
Which is confusing because are you saying this is a question that I'm posing on social media? It's a question about social media.
Got it.
Not clear what it is.
Got it.
And then we don't see the question. So people are going to just keep on scrolling. So
Got it.
the best thing to do for something like this is Twitter. It's the right demo and it's the right way to ask the question.
Got it.
Because people can just quickly respond.
Got it.
Right? That's
Got
what
it.
Twitter is for. So the more you know, Sean, the more you know.
The more I know. So I got
reprimanded him and he took it poorly. He's crying in the corner.
And
So,
I'm
okay,
asking
Sean.
again for a little peace, love,
Quiet,
and understanding. No, peace,
health,
love, and understanding. Peace. We're going to get there.
excitement.
We will get there.
Okay.
All right.
What was it, Jeff?
But before we've already introduced Jeff Graham, Mr. Funtabulous, and Miss Phenomenally Cruel, Roxy Stryer today.
She's dense with cruelness.
Dense with cruelness. But hey, I deserved it. No, she's Miss Phenomenal, always just teaching me so much all the time in many different aspects. But before we jump into the meat of the do's and don'ts, we're going to talk about, we're going to go through these do's and don'ts. Then we have a few questions that I'm going to ask you, some from me, some from the listeners that I did actually get some responses, a few. And then in stories from the set, which I was going to do last week, is talk about, when I've been on a couple sets from small to big and how they actually handle the social media aspect when you guest star or you're on one of those shows.
Right, because the last thing you want to do is book a gig and social it out before getting permission and lose that gig real quick.
A lot of times I'm signing stuff, so I'll explain all of that when we do that. But before we do that, we're going to do Sean's week. But now I feel it has to be very schoolish, am I
the teacher again, or am I a school kid?
I'm just saying intense education, whatever that means to you. Intense education. Are you with me, Mr. Fantabulous?
I'm in.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Sean's
week. Ooh, very.
We all went quicker.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about, and keep in mind I'm Jewish, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I thought about like a nun.
Yeah. It was very authoritarian.
Sean's
Both
week.
of you. Yeah, you guys were very authoritarian. Very authoritarian.
Yeah.
And I was
doing some sister
and I was
stuff.
kind of the weak kid in the corner that probably wet his pants.
Oh no, you were at the table of shame.
I was at the table of shame,
bump.
or the dunce cap again. Probably way too old.
No, that sounds
It's in
familiar.
cartoons, the little cone they had,
Yeah.
dunce. Can you imagine putting a kid in the corner and having a hat that says dunce on his head? That's incredible, right?
Our music teacher used to put us in the corner, and if you were doing something too wrong, she'd give you the royal bonk and come hit you on the head. So
wow. That's
different
crazy.
times, different strokes.
All right, so what did I do? I'm not going to... I was so excited about the song last time that I didn't even do it. So let me run through things that happened this week.
What happened this week, Sean?
This morning, she was in a couple weeks ago, Suba. She was going in for her first Disney Channel, very broad, very specific type of audition. So I coached her this morning.
Just so people know, when you say very broad, very specific.
Broad, very specific, meaning it's very cartoony, over the top. That's what it is. And she'd never done one of those before. So we worked on that, and she did very well. I'm consolidating my social media. A little shout out to Asha Streck, who's helping me with my social media. I met her at a convention a few years ago, and she's kind of helping me with this kind of stuff. We shut down a group. We shut down a second page. We're all consolidating on the Sean Whaler acting page on Facebook. She's spells her name Asia, A-S-I-A, but pronounced Asha due to her Polish heritage. Has anyone ever heard that before? I've never heard that before.
No, and I've got Polish in me.
Yeah, but I didn't know that if it was Asha, I would think it was A-S-H-A, but then people would say, well, Sean should be S-H-A-W-N, right? So it's specific to Polish.
You're really Sion.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So I was doing that. I was asked by students of mine they hired me to direct a sketch that we've done in our shows, and they wanted to. 2 girls? No, actually, a guy that's been with me for like 4 years. He had a really funny sketch, and he wants to shoot it, and he's got a budget, and he's paying me to direct it. So that's very cool.
Heck yeah!
And then had a really great sketch class. We had an abundance of material. We couldn't even get to it in our allotted time, so that's going really well. And next Sunday in the Oakland area, I will be at East Bay Comic-Con. So if you're up in that area, East Bay Comic-Con, which is February 9th, I will be signing autographs and meeting people at East Bay Comic-Con. I'm very excited about it. Damn. Should be very, very fun. And also in Memphis, I'm going to be March 29th for an all-day improv class and show that we're going to put on that night. First time they've ever done an improv show at Forrest Pruitt's class. So, but the other thing I do have to say, I sent an email out to this. Jeff was very excited by it. I was in Playhouse West.
This is so cool. What do you mean Jeff was excited?
He
I don't get to be excited?
I didn't hear from you. You didn't respond.
It's a fair point. Fair point.
I'm not a mind reader. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Nothing. So we give it to each other.
Nothing. It's because,
because we're in
depression
too deep.
or what was it?
You'll get it.
Okay.
He's being sarcastic. Oh. Why is it so hard to be peace, love, and understanding? Why is it hard to do that?
Why does he use the word funny when he means hard?
All right, so here we go. I'm in
difficult.
Playhouse West. I'm walking by, and this guy goes, "Hey, Sean, how are you? I want to thank you." And I say, "Okay." And I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "I used to deliver mail in Memphis, Tennessee, walking around, listening to your podcast. So inspired by it. Made a plan, and he is out here now studying at Playhouse West in Los Angeles, based solely on this podcast."
A lot of our earlier episodes talked about moving here, the 2-year plan, how to do it.
Check out all those episodes if you haven't heard them. They're kind of early in the queue.
You know what's cool? Right now, you could be listening to this and thinking, like, should I do it? And know that somebody did. People are doing it.
People are doing it.
You can do it, too.
It was very cool. And then...
Yes, I'm talking to you.
And I can add to that, I just got a teaching request from someone who's been listening to the podcast in Australia.
An
emailed
Aussie?
me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, then you got to do it. You could use a little help right now, Sean.
Yes.
Anything we can do for the Aussies.
So listen, I just talked to our founder, Keven Undergaro. We would love to do, remotes of this show, certain places. We talked about doing one at Playhouse West and having some actors in the audience.
Cool.
And some other acting schools if you ever want us. But we also would love to come and do, acting class weekly workshop. So if you have an acting school or a college or something with the drama department, get in touch with me at SeanWhalenBiz@gmail.com. Also, other really cool things we're going to announce in the next couple weeks for this show. So stay tuned. It's going to be kind of exciting.
All right.
But to get more engagement and more people to us, Roxy, how would we do that?
I feel like we still got to work on that transition. It's okay, but it's just like...
Roxy?
Yeah.
What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
Well, I don't know, but maybe you guys at home do know. Guys, we only do this show because of you. You're the absolute best. And anytime you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, we read every comment that is on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, everywhere that podcasts are, we are there. So write to us. Let us know what you want us to cover. We've also had some huge guests on the show. So any guests that you really want to see that we could bring on, then make sure that you put your suggestions there as well. And while you are there, like, subscribe, give that 5-star, that thumbs up. That really helps this community expand, grow, build. And that's what we want to do here, be a big community of people who are working actors and trying to break into this industry. I do like to give shout outs to people on this show who did comment. So anybody who comments this week on Apple Podcast or on YouTube, I will make sure that I read your comment next week. Coming in from last week, this is a comment from Garth McMurray, and it's got a question with it, Sean.
Okay.
So this one's for you.
Got it.
Garth says, good episode. Question for Sean. Has he worked on TV pilots that weren't picked up or movies that were finished but not released? How often can that happen for an actor, and can they still list the experience on their resume even if it was never released? Great question, Garth McMurray. Sean.
Yeah, you can, and there are a lot of times they'll be in IMDb. Sometimes when they don't get released, they get taken off of IMDb. I was in
another round of music, another round.
A funny hybrid movie that was kind of like, what is the Mr. Fantabulous? I feel like you would know this. What is the Steve Martin movie where he used black and white clips? Something about plaid, like. What am I thinking about? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I will do some research.
Yeah, it's the Steve Martin movie where he used clips of old movies.
Dead men don't wear plaid.
Dead men don't wear plaid. Thank you very much.
What's funny about peace, love, and understanding?
So I did another one that was like that. That was like a horror sci-fi version. They used horror sci-fi clips and put it with live actors and merged it with the black and white. I did one of those. Never got released. And then a pilot. This is really awful. Brandon Tartikoff, after he left, he ran NBC for a long time. Came back, started to produce. Literally came up to me. I did a pilot, and he said, if this pilot goes, you will be a huge part of it. I was just a guest star. You'll be, it'll be the greatest thing for you. I hope it goes. It never did go. And and I thought, wow, 3 years ago, if you would have said that, you would have been the head of NBC and could have changed my life. But I met you at the wrong time. So, those are the two that just pop into mind, but I'm sure there's others.
All right.
Most I've seen, most have been released, but yeah, there's definitely some. Pilots happen all the time.
If you guys want to be cool like Garth McMurray, then make sure you write your questions, comments, all that great stuff, again, on Apple Podcast or YouTube.
So I don't know if you really need to go over your stats again. You're doing well in general. Give us a general.
You don't need me to brag again, Sean? Well, in case you guys didn't listen to last week's episode, the only reason I say this is so you know who you're getting advice from.
Yes.
But I've got 35,000 followers, more than that now, actually, more than even last week.
Wow.
1,000 followers on Twitter, 28,000 plus on Instagram. My Facebook has a few thousand. My YouTube, I'm almost at 20,000 subscribers at 19.2, guys. Get me there. YouTube.com/Roxy Stryer. So all of the platforms, I'm starting this TikTok thing.
Are
Sean.
you?
Yeah.
All right. I'm meeting with my TikTok person tomorrow.
Okay. So that's a little bit about me, but I did want to go over some general do's and don'ts for things that are not specific to one platform.
And you gave us some great do's and don'ts at the top of the show.
I did. I'm very smart.
Yes.
Yeah. So
very
just
dense.
Like that. Very
dense.
Very dense.
With knowledge.
So let's go over some do's first.
Okay.
Just a few do's in general across platforms. Do be authentic. Now, I know this one seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of times people will see other people's social media and they want to become that person, so they'll start trying to be somebody else or post about things they don't really care about. People can read right through that. So you really want to make sure you're authentic to yourself.
Got it.
And that people can read that. Now, that doesn't mean that if you are in a state of severe depression that every day you should post a picture of yourself crying.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that. But it does mean that if you genuinely love... if you genuinely don't care about food and you're somebody who's like, I'm going to become a foodie on Instagram, I'm going to start blogging food, that you're not being true to yourself. You're not being authentic.
Okay.
So be authentic. Do share your work.
What do you mean by work?
This is what I mean by work. I know it can feel a little awkward to have been in something, to have a podcast or have to be in a show and to tweet about it and say, look, you can catch me here. You can find me here. It feels a little awkward, self-promotion.
Got it.
But this is a tool that you need to use so that people in your life, your fans, your followers, your family, your friends, whoever supports you or follows you on social media can see what you're actually doing.
Okay.
And this will make you more desirable too, because the busier you seem, the more people want you. It's why you know that people tend to book things instead
Right.
of in 1, in 2s or 3s.
Right.
Usually, if you get one thing, everybody comes swarming for you. So
Got it.
make sure you post your work.
Okay.
Do have personality. A lot of people
Big
are
trouble with that one.
Yeah, a lot. That's you. You just have none, Sean.
I know.
A lot of people try to be very, very safe on social media, and that's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun when you decide to be completely void of personality.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who's really passionate, let that show. If you're really funny, put that in there.
Look at Bat Dad, just making jokes,
Making them jokes.
Making them
People
jokes
do
with
love
his fams.
jokes, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Do respond to your followers. So engagement is essential here.
Okay, so this is in expanding.
Yes.
There's a lot, like sometimes there's a lot, like I'll do a caption contest and I'll literally get like 300. Now I usually just put likes, and I obviously can't, I'm not allowed, since it's a contest, I can't say, oh, I love this
Right.
one, because they're voting on it and stuff like that. And on Instagram, sometimes I will get a lot. Are you saying respond to every single one?
So
What is your thoughts?
Here's what I'm saying. The more people feel seen and heard, the more they want to keep coming back.
Got it.
So at the very least on Twitter and Instagram, unless somebody writes something rude,
Okay.
I at least heart it.
Okay.
I at least will heart it.
I will do that
Same
too.
thing with Facebook.
I
If
do
you
the same
write
thing.
something, I at least will acknowledge, I have read this, I have seen it, here's my approval of that.
That's what I do.
And then if they ask a question, I make sure I respond. Again,
Okay.
as long as it's
Right.
appropriate and
Right.
kind.
Right.
If somebody says something like, "Why don't you go F yourself?" That's technically a question. I'm not going to respond
I saw
to
you
that.
respond really, really good to some guy who was like, hey, why no cleavage one
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
And I remember you handled that very well.
I do try to. I actually had a crazy social media situation happen this week. If we have time towards the end, I'll
Okay.
tell you about that.
Okay.
But
But you responded well to that.
I think
thought that was
people
great.
can learn and grow, and so if you can, try to educate people if they do say something rude, but otherwise just simply leave it alone and don't respond.
Got it.
If they're being rude, but if they're your fans and they want to interact with you, they want to know where to find you or how you feel about a certain TV show or what kind
Yeah.
of music you like.
Yeah.
There's no. It doesn't make you look less to respond. It doesn't make you look less famous. Chrissy Teigen, or I guess technically it's Teigen now. Chrissy Teigen responds to everything.
Yeah.
She's always responding. Lady Gaga responds to a ton of things. So
Right.
yes, these people probably have teams doing a lot of their responding, but I'm just
Okay.
saying you don't look less famous to be responding to your fans.
Got
The
it.
biggest people on the planet respond to their fans.
Okay.
So that makes people want to follow you more.
Okay.
Do credit other people. If
Okay.
you are going to take something from somebody else, so if you see a post that you really like, you need to give credit where credit is due. So sometimes you'll see somebody else tweet something and it's hysterical.
Right.
You cannot just go and copy and paste that and
Got it.
tweet it. You either need to retweet it so that that person gets the credit, or you need to say "said by" and put it in quotes.
You helped me with that earlier last year when I had a post about Daria Baronato,
Mm-hmm.
Sonia Deville, and you were like, okay, let me help you with this. And to credit her, to credit Keven Undergaro for the intro and
that's the other part
AfterBuzz and
of-
things. It was great. It really was useful.
The other part about giving credit is if you're working on a project and you're putting it out there, then you want to credit the people involved.
Yes.
This is who directed it. This
Yeah.
is who wrote it. Thank you to this PA who was awesome on set. Like the more people you credit, the better for you, because A, it's getting more eyes and ears on it, but B, it shows that you're grateful to be there.
And
it's a nice
yeah.
thing to do.
Right, generous.
Do ask questions. This is one
Correctly.
So I've actually implemented this in a lot of my friends' social media. A lot of my friends will come to me for help, and they'll say, something about my personal Instagram is that I get a ton of responses. Same thing with Twitter.
Okay.
A ton of responses. And they say, how are you getting so much engagement?
Okay.
Why are people responding? I ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
So I'll give my thoughts, and then I'll ask something as simple as, what do you think?
Yeah, and Maria does that a lot. Our founder, one of our
Maria
founders,
Menounos.
too, Maria Menounos.
Absolutely. And it's an important thing to do because sometimes people don't know what to respond unless you ask a question.
Right.
It's like a conversation. You know how if you're meeting somebody new and you end a sentence with a statement,
Yeah.
and then sometimes it goes a little quiet? If you're like, oh, interesting weather we're
Yeah.
having.
Yeah.
And it gets a little quiet.
Right.
Instead of,
Yeah.
oh, interesting weather we're having. It's been snowing like crazy. Do you ski?
Yes. Open-ended
Then people
questions.
can respond.
Engaging.
So that's how social media works as well.
I do crazy dumb ones like, you're going to a picnic. They ask you to do it. It's a hot day. What do you bring? Potato salad or coleslaw to a barbecue?
You do great ones where you compare which artist do you like better? If you're driving in a car and you can only listen to one artist for the entire, which
for
one
a road
is it?
trip.
It's great when
By
you
the
give
way,
people two
potato
options.
salad won.
Wow,
Hands down. I'm a
interesting.
slaw man all the way. I'm so slaw.
I don't like slaw with mayo, but slaw without mayo I'm into.
What is it?
There's like more of an Asian slaw.
Wood Ranch Barbecue.
They have an awesome slaw
with the peanuts.
Oh, it's so
with
good.
The peanut
slaw.
We have to go to dinner at Wood Ranch.
I love Wood Ranch.
Mr. Fantabulous, we are going to dinner at Wood Ranch.
I'm in. I love it.
Okay. Wow, I can't believe you know their slaw.
Love that slaw.
Do work at it every day. Social media cannot be ignored, not for a day. I know, and okay. Take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. If you're going on vacation, if you're doing a week-long social media hiatus for your personal life and mental health, okay.
Yep.
But other than that, if you want it to glow up, I think that's what the kids are saying.
Okay.
Just like blow up, but you're glowing up. I don't really get it. So
Got it.
if you want it to grow, if you want it to do really well, then you will post every day.
Okay.
At least on one of the platforms. I tweet every single day.
Okay.
I Instagram as much as I can, at least a few times a week. Instagram story, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you're spending your time, you want to do it every day. And this doesn't mean you need to spend hours every day.
Right.
Just think about the most interesting thought you had that day.
Right.
You could tweet it out, whatever it is, whether it's that you think...
I thought about the Grammys the other night. I had so many opinions on so many artists, but I only thought about one. I only put one.
We all have so many opinions throughout. There's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
You're telling me you didn't have a single opinion all day?
Yeah.
You didn't have any thoughts?
Right.
Anything that you loved or anything you wanted to share
Right.
with people or wanted to talk about? That's a great thing to put on social media.
Right.
You didn't see anything really cool that you wanted to share with people?
Yes.
So everybody every day. Work on it every day.
Got it.
Do have the same handles across the board. One of the two of you listened to me, and that one is Sean.
I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble, and here's why. Let me
Jeff,
explain
it's a
it.
simple question. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
What is so funny about that, Jeff? So let me explain why for a couple reasons. Number one, you are able to, on social media, share across platforms.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? That means that if I post something on Instagram, I am able to click share to Twitter, share to Facebook, right? Everybody knows that you can share it. You can share it to different places.
I thought that wasn't a good idea.
I'm not saying that you should, but you can, and many people do. If I put an Instagram picture there, and I say, at Sean Whalen, actor, and I had so much fun today.
Right.
And I tweet, and I Instagram that out, and then I hit share to Twitter. And it's not your same handle on Twitter.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to your Twitter.
Got it.
So you don't get tagged. So if you want to get credit for all the things you're in, and by the way, a lot of the biggest celebrities on the planet will just share it because it's easy to share too.
Sure.
And they don't need to worry about their engagement as much. They're already getting it. They'll just share it, and you're going to not get tagged because you don't have the same thing. So that's really important. And also because when you're promoting yourself, it's a lot easier to say you can find me everywhere at Sean Whalen Actor.
Yep.
Nobody has to be like, wait, which one was the one that was Peeps, and which one's actor, and which one's with the middle name, and then the...
Yeah.
It just gets confusing. I've been doing a show. I've been working with Jeffrey Crane Graham for years now, and I'm like on Instagram, Jeffrey Crane on Twitter, Jeffrey C. It's the C one there, right? And that's somebody I actually care about and know. So imagine how difficult it is when you're you just want to find somebody and follow them. You want to be the same across the board. That one's essential.
Okay.
Jeff, we got to get it to you.
Here's what I'll say. I promise for next show I'll have it fixed.
Yes.
All right. I did, Mr. Fantabulous.
Obviously, the closer to your name you can get, the better. It's challenging these days, but you want to try to have your name in there.
Yeah.
Do have an avatar of yourself. So you want to not have that egg. You know, that egg. You need a picture. Or you need a...
Quick question. Asha said something about it really pops if you have a black and white picture on Instagram.
Some people have theories about that.
Okay.
On Instagram.
So my Instagram is in black and white. It's the only one.
On Instagram, people have theories about that. If you put it in sepia, if you put it on black and white, it makes it different. I just think have something that clearly shows your face.
Got it.
So that anybody who's like, is that Sean? Can be like, oh, that's Sean.
Yeah.
A picture that you like of yourself.
Got it.
Make sure that there's a picture of yourself. It's not just that that random thing that comes with it.
Yeah.
Do use your bio to tag places you work and showcase yourself.
Got it.
So, for example, on Instagram, you're able to put a website. You're able to have an About You section. Same thing with on Twitter.
Yeah.
Utilize those.
Yeah.
So if you do not have a website, like if you do not have RoxyStryer.com,
Yes.
then on Twitter, you would put a link to your Instagram. And
Got
on
it.
Instagram, put a link to your Twitter, right?
Got it.
Or for
Got
me,
it.
I put links to my YouTube or whatever it is that you're trying to promote.
Yes.
So make sure that you have there's always something else that you could have in there.
Okay.
And you want to at the places you work so people can click
Right.
on it to see how legit it is. So Sean, if in your bio you said
Something about-
host of Acting Class Weekly at AfterBuzz TV,
yeah.
then somebody says, oh, what's AfterBuzz TV? They can click on it. They can see that we have
Yes.
thousands of followers,
Yes.
which means this is a legitimate company that
Got
you
it.
are hosting for, right?
Got it.
So you want to tag all of that. Do utilize your drafts. Sean, do you ever use your drafts?
I don't even know what a draft is.
Well, that is a great place to start.
Yes.
Your drafts are places that you can literally draft something and save it for later. You can do this on Instagram or Twitter.
Ooh, I would love to do that.
So sometimes I'll have just tweeted something I think's really clever.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it will give me inspiration. I have another really clever thing. But I just tweeted, and I'm like, I know I have a really busy day tomorrow. Am I going to be able to come up with a tweet for tomorrow that I think's as good as this? Maybe not.
Got it.
So I save it to my drafts.
Got it.
And then tomorrow, when I have 4 seconds in the day, I hit post and move on.
Love that.
So
I
if there's-
have to do that.
If there's anything you know you're going to do, like if you know you have a friend's birthday later in the week and you're going to post an Instagram picture of them,
Yes.
you can, whenever you have time, put it in your drafts, and then all you do is hit post.
Ooh, I
you
could
can
do that
save
on
captions,
Sunday. I feel like I could do
filters,
Sundays, yeah.
You could literally anything.
Plan your week.
You could plan your week. Obviously, anything that happens you
Yes.
wouldn't have, but
Right.
you could plan a huge part of your week, which is why actually doing social media every day is pretty easy
Got it.
because you could do it all at once.
I love that.
Jeff,
Related to that, if you think of something that's like a funny, clever thought or a joke, and God forbid Kobe Bryant dies, right? Which was
Right.
obviously the tragedy that's overshadowing this whole week.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to post a joke at that time. You know,
Right.
when Twitter's blowing up, it's not the right time. So
Right.
you can say that as a draft and instead write your beautiful
Yeah.
tribute to Kobe.
That
Yeah.
that has happened to me so many times where
Yeah.
I'm about to post something that I think is amazing, and then I see that there's been
Yeah.
a shooting or something, and
Or
I'm like, this
something
is
in
in really,
Australia,
really
the
bad
Australian
taste. Yeah,
fires
a
or-
fire
right.
or something.
Right.
So great point, Jeff. Jeff,
Good.
are you utilizing your drafts?
I am actually. You know, we Rox and I both help run our business accounts, and sometimes I'll plan in advance what I'll be tweeting all day. You know,
Yeah.
birthdays, that kind of thing. So I am, in fact, using drafts.
Yes.
So those are things we are doing. Let's talk about some things that
Some
you
don'ts.
should not be doing.
Miss Frontabulous, we lost the time.
This is one that you should not be doing. This is a big don't. Okay, this is a big don't. Big don't. This is a question I get all the time from everybody, Sean. Don't buy your followers.
Okay.
It makes you look good for a second, okay? But what happens is your engagement sucks because they're not real people.
Okay.
And then ultimately they end up going away also
Okay.
because Twitter shuts down some of those, or Instagram or whatever platform you bought them on will shut down those fake accounts.
Right.
Wow, look, we have now on the screen here.
Fixing it?
Guys, it's my amazing. We just wanted
That
to.
is.
We're plugging
There we
my
go.
Instagram.
There we
You
go.
don't want to plug it anymore, Jeff?
No, it's okay.
At Roxy Stryer, it's fine. So don't buy your followers. I know it's tempting, but if jobs, it takes them 2 seconds to vet and see that they bought. Because
Got
if you
it.
have 60,000 followers and you have 2 likes on a post, guess
Yeah,
what?
that makes
You
no
bought
sense.
it. So it's
Okay.
not good. You want to build up real people. Real people.
Okay.
This is an easy one for most
So
people,
easy,
but,
but
this
some-
one,
yeah.
I just want to say it. Don't be racist, sexist, homophobic, or anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
This will lose you your job.
Yeah.
And we've watched it happen
We've seen it.
all the time. So even if you think, is this borderline? I know I think I'm making a joke here, but is this borderline
Yeah.
really racist?
Yeah. Not worth it.
Not worth it.
And listen, I've thought about this because I've been directly affected by productions and things like that. Someone saying something and shutdowns of production affects me and my job. that turn to your friend.
Ask somebody.
Tell or just vent to a friend.
Oh, that
text a friend and go roar
that
and
too.
let that out.
But if you have because I know that you have a little tinge in your mind that's like,
little
just
our
turn
Jiminy
to somebody
Cricket,
and be like, is this kind of sexist or is this funny?
Yeah.
Like,
then ask a couple people.
Not just one. Ask the person that you trust in
Yes.
that moment. But when in doubt, do not tweet it out.
Do not tweet it out.
Not
when in
even,
doubt, don't tweet it out.
Not even if you're on NyQuil or Ambien.
or whatever, everything.
Ambien?
Yeah, I don't know.
So no to that. Don't only share posts from other platforms. So that's what we were talking about before, Sean. Don't just hit share to Twitter, share to Instagram, share to Facebook.
Yeah.
You have to do original posts on each one of these platforms.
It's better.
Much better. You'll get much better engagement.
Got it.
Because how it formats it.
Right.
Right? Don't use social media as a way to avoid spending time learning your craft.
Explain this one.
So this is in addition to being an actor. This is not instead of.
Right.
So you can't say you're an actor when really what you are is an Instagram model and you're spending all of your time taking photographs for Instagram and you're not in acting class.
Learned this the hard way. I was a sketch comedian at Groundlings, and then I went in for my first audition because I was killing it there, and the woman looked at me and goes, you have no idea what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
Because I didn't know how to audition. I wasn't a full actor. I was just doing sketch funny stuff.
So the version of that in 2020 is all of these people who build up followings on social media.
YouTube thing, and then
because you can do it. There's ways to build up your following without being talented yet or trained in your craft. So this has to be in addition. This is not instead of doing the work. This is in addition to doing the work.
Got it.
Don't overdo it with small sponsorships.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, have you ever followed somebody and every day they're posting about a new product?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
no.
Some people I follow and it's every day.
Too
and
much.
Here's this new flashlight, and then here's this nail polish brand. You unfollow them because they'll post about anything. And those posts are usually, if they don't have that many followers, maybe it's $100 here, $50 there, something like that.
Not worth
so
it.
you want to make sure that when you're taking sponsorships, you already have a strong brand, you actually like the product.
Yes.
And you're not posting every day about a different thing.
Got it.
Don't post when you're angry.
Why not? Get it?
Mm-hmm, I do.
That was an acting. See?
A lot of people will post when they're peeved. They're really pissed.
Yeah.
You don't want to regret what you post about. And this happens a lot, especially when people are on set. If somebody else ticks them off, and then you'll see they'll go and tweet something mean about somebody else, this bites you in the butt. So if you...
Not worth it.
I have a draft on my phone where every day if something bothers me that I'm like, I'm going to go get them, I will put it in not even in my Twitter drafts, just in a notepad, and I'll say something really, really dirtbaggy. And then always an hour later I look and I'm like, thank God I didn't send that to anybody.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
So don't post when you're angry.
Do's and don'ts. I love them. We're going to keep moving. I'm barreling through.
Yeah, go.
I'm not dismissing anything you've done. I loved everything you said.
We got to move forward.
We're
It's
moving
a social
forward.
media game.
Amy on my Instagram, Amy Joy Laughin. Firstly, I love your podcast. The three of you are so great, and the information you give is inspiring and helpful.
Hi,
Here's
Amy.
my social media question. My best friend and I are actors, and we also have a teeny tiny production company at Lefeaux Productions, Lafeaux, where
Look at you giving credit.
Yep, giving credit. Where we have created 4 seasons of a soap opera, web series, and a couple of our own short films.
So great.
Creating your content, way to go. Although I think we do a pretty good job promoting our projects on our Instagram and YouTube followings are even tinier than our 2-person production company. We have so much fun, but we also work really hard on our projects and would love to be able to share them with more people. Do you have any tips on what to share/post about when we are in between projects to get/keep people interested? Thank you so much.
So when you're in between projects, that's a great time for questions, seeing who people would want to see in a project, asking your fans that, or if there's a specific storyline that they're really engaged in right now that they want you to talk about.
You mentioned last week, so you take a bunch of pictures, post some from the thing, and then listen. Rob Zombie does this all the time. He'll say, great concert from 2 years ago in Denver. We loved it, or look
Throwback
at
Thursday.
X.
Woman Crush Wednesday, Man Crush Monday. All those are still very strong. If you take pictures or scenes and want to post them, caption this, which people love to do all the time, and you show a moment, an image of two people looking kind of crazy. What are they saying here? What are they thinking? All different stuff like that. Drafting
of your new stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Great job.
That was a very good question. And then on my Facebook, let me pull this up. Sorry.
It's okay. We can wait. We have all the time in the world, Sean.
You know what? Is there such a thing in Janine Visuue, 2 U's, Visuue, is there such a thing as overdoing social media, particularly too many posts per day?
I think that there is. However, what experience has shown is that it's very unlikely that you'll get somebody to unfollow you. So better more than less. But I would say, especially as you're starting out, just try to do 1 post on Instagram a day. You can do more Instagram stories. And maybe up to 4 posts on Twitter a day. And then as you get more of a following, then you can do more than that. I have a friend who
was an old horror icon and a director now. And man, he's posting every hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, a lot of people do. But it can be overwhelming to think about it like that at first. So you don't want to be that person who Instagrams the same thing 50 times, just like different angles of it.
Yeah.
So as many
He's
as experience.
Extremely funny and creative, so it's almost it's really fun.
That's great.
And then Jen Desperatio, ATIO. I've known you for a while. I've met you in person, Jen, but DJENN. She said, starting my own film and book review channel, is there such a thing as going too far when you first get started? I think that kind of folded into our last one.
Yeah.
Just kind of not doing too much, maybe doing 1 or 2 a day to start.
Yeah.
But only if you have a lot of different variety. So my question, if we have the time, is hashtags. Just help me with hashtags. I'm so lost.
So the worst is when you see somebody's posting 80 hashtags just to try to get likes, right? You really want to try to use hashtags when they're trending, especially on Twitter. There's no point in hashtagging something like LOL, hashtag isn't this funny? Like, that doesn't make sense. You want to hashtag things that are trending, the names of movies, TV shows.
So for me, everyone, I should probably have actor and Actor Life LA and stuff like that, right?
On Twitter, not really, because people aren't usually looking on Twitter for actor. But for Instagram, you can. I think that hashtags are overused by a lot of people on Instagram. Really what you need to do first is have good content. People will find you. And hashtag anything that is relevant to that day. So if you're posting something about Kobe Bryant passing, obviously hashtagging him means people can find it who are looking for that topic. Or if you are going...
My cats of Instagram, things like that.
Exactly. But you don't need to just do everything that you do, like hashtag host in LA, hashtag host in Los Angeles, hashtag hosts. No, because it looks desperate. And nobody in life, anything in life that looks desperate, people can smell.
We don't like it.
Because then it shows all I want is for randoms to find me.
Don't be thirsty.
Don't be thirsty.
I'm down with the kids.
What's the director that always goes for one of the extras? He always brings, you were telling me the story. One director brings one of the extras, always bumps him up, and it's based on not being thirsty.
I forget. Shoot, was it...
Who is it?
I forget. Well, we'll have to listen to our
Don't be
episode.
thirsty, though, is the point.
My quick stories from the set. When you do Independence, I did a movie called Velisca, and they had me in my creepy costume. I was doing stuff from the set. There was a very scary scene where I'm covered in blood. They said, don't do that. But it helped saying that I was on set and stuff like that. When I was
They said what? Don't do that. Don't social it out.
Don't the big reveal of me covered in blood with an axe and stuff like that after I murdered the children. Check it out. It's a good time. It actually is really good. Velisca, it's really great. It's on Netflix. But then on bigger movies, I either have to sign something that says I won't, or I have to. I'll have my manager and agent check with the production company. So when I did Magnum PI, they said I'm allowed to say where I am and that I'm shooting something. That was it. So when I posted Hawaii, people are like, "Oh, you're doing Hawaii 5-0 or Magnum PI." But I wasn't allowed to say.
But that creates buzz around you.
That creates a little bit
heat.
of buzz and say I'm shooting something. So I have so many tweets and I see so many Instagrams and so many Facebooks of people say, just landed a great project and I can't talk about it, but keep posted. It's, shooting for several weeks. So that's how it kind of works on sets. Independent, man, they love it. When I'm starting Crust, I'm so excited. I'm going to be, posting like crazy.
People want people to post.
Yeah,
because it creates buzz around their projects and vice versa.
Does. So again, a very dense with knowledge show. Very dense, full of information. So great. Where can we find you?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
Ooh, and now this one hurts. Where can we find you, Mr. Fantabulous?
Hopefully, as of next week, everywhere at Jeffrey Crane Graham.
Yes.
For now, my Instagram's there. Check it out.
There you go. And I am everywhere now at Sean Whalen Actor.
I love that sound.
There we go. And as always, thank you for letting me be part of your journey.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.